Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's TechSmith webinar on what's new in Snagit 2023. My name is Jason Vallad, and I'm an instructional designer and master trainer here at TechSmith on our customer education team. And I'm pleased as punch to be joined by my friend and colleague, Ryan H. Ryan, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. You always throw me off with your comment. Please just punch. That was fun. Yeah, thanks. Please just punch to be here too.
Please just punch. Excellent. Appreciate that. So Ryan is also an instructional designer here at TechSmith and has been here for the better part of 2 decades. So you could not have a better presenter today to show you all the new hotness and maybe some old favorites inside of Snagit. A couple things we're going to talk about here in just a second, but let's start with Ryan's going to be working on a Windows machine today using the brand new version of Snagit 2023, which was released about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. It is still fresh and new and exciting. So we appreciate you being here. So let's get into a little bit of our back end here. So first, today's agenda. Ryan's going to talk about the magic of Screen Draw, which is a brand new functionality inside of Snagit 2023. Share link, the one-click button to share your captures. This has kind of been a game changer for me, and I'll share later more why it's pretty sweet and it's so simple. We're going to talk about Screencast, a new version of Screencast, and conversations that let you have an engaged conversation around the content that you create. Ryan's also going to share some other tips and tricks like how to customize your toolbar, and he's definitely going to get to talking about creating video from images inside of Snagit. Number one question we get asked for every webinar, and it's already happened in today's, is today's webinar being recorded? Yes, today's webinar is being recorded, and you will get a copy of that webinar recording link sometime in the next 24 hours to the email you used to register for this webinar. Now, you can always find previous recordings at techsmith.com/webinars, and if we have time later on, Ryan, we can show them that as well. Feel free to watch that as many times as you want, share it with colleagues, share it with family and friends, anybody that couldn't have an opportunity to attend live, be sure to share that with them. We appreciate that. So we're here to help you out. In fact, there's a lot of people here to help you out. There are a series of TechSmithies that have joined us in the webinar today, and they want to do their best to answer your questions. So if you hope to get a question answered, we cannot promise to answer all of them. We want you to put those questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom webinar interface. And in there, you have Carson and Carson. That's right, we get 2 of them today. You have Emmy, Paul, Robert, Sage, and Tony, all members of the TechSmith staff, senior leadership, support staff, developers, marketers. We're all here to help you out. So if you hope to have a question answered, go ahead and put it in there. If it's relevant to the entirety of the webinar, they'll share it with us, and Ryan and I will do our best to answer it live. We have also opened up the chat at the bottom. So this is where you can chat with other attendees, maybe some TechSmithies. Try to not put your questions in there. Definitely put them in the Q&A to the best of your ability, and we'll answer questions as best we can. We also have the ability for you to use live transcription if that's a service you would find helpful. It's actually pretty good within Zoom. You can toggle on that closed captions at the bottom, and it will engage with what we're saying and translate it in real time. And it's been pretty good. Not going to lie. It's not a unfriendly experience. So just wanted to put that out there as well. All right, Ryan, this is where I stop sharing my screen, and I hand over the power to you, my friend, to take us through what's new inside of Snagit 2023. And we are here to support you along with several hundred of your favorite fans.
Nice. Thank you. Can you see my screen, Jason?
Yep, I'm seeing the slide deck and the capture window.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thanks for the intro. And just a couple things before we get going here is I normally hide my taskbar at the bottom, but I'm going to leave it open for this just for navigating back and forth from application windows. So hopefully that is not distracting for you at the bottom. And second, kind of talking about the agenda slide here I have on the screen. These items that Jason walked you through that we're going to cover today, I'm hoping to sprinkle in some tips along the way as well that aren't necessarily listed on here. And starting with actually, before we even jump into this, I wanted to show you if you are unsure to know what version of Snagit you might be using. I wanted to show you real quickly how you can do that. So let me actually minimize that window here real quick. And I'm also going to turn off my webcam. I'm going to stop my video so that hopefully we can focus on just the screen for the moment. So with the Snagit capture window, if you click on the help menu at the top, there's a couple things I want to point out. Clear at the bottom is about Snagit. If you click on that, this is going to tell you what version you are on. Currently, I'm on 2023.0.1, and it gives you the build number and the date that it was built, so November 2nd. Okay, so help about Snagit. The other one I wanted to point out is this check for updates. And if you click on that, it will let you know if you are running the latest version of Snagit or not. And looks like I am. So typically you would get notified with a pop-up letting you know when there's a new version. But if you haven't seen one in a while and you just want to check to make sure, this is the way to do that. Just as a reminder, you would have to do this through the Snagit capture window. In the Snagit editor, you can't get to the check for updates. You would just do that from the Snagit capture window. All right, with that, we are going to start off with Screen Draw. This is a really cool new feature that in Snagit that you can now draw on top of your video while you're recording it. And to get to the Screen Draw feature, you typically have to go to the video component here in the Snagit capture window and start a new video recording. So you can do that this way. I'm actually going to do it through the all-in-one capture. That's typically my go-to when recording. And so I'm first going to go back to my browser and open this up. And for today's recording, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to record off of our TechSmith website. I'm going to try to not only show you Screen Draw, but show you where you can find tutorials on our website, as well as maybe some other things. So from the all-in-one capture, I've got my window open. I'm going to click the capture button. This is going to now launch what we call crosshairs. And as I move this around the screen, it tries to guess what I want to capture. I could even go up here and click this button that says full screen, and that would capture the entire window. You may have noticed that I've got this web browser resized a little bit, and I'm going to demonstrate doing a region capture first, and then we can, if we have time, I'll show you a full screen capture and how that works with Screen Draw. So this window, when I come here in the middle, it kind of selects it, and I'm just going to click right in the middle of it. And it's going to then select this region or that particular window. And here is the toolbar, the recording toolbar for the all-in-one. So I can either capture it as an image, record a video, or do a panoramic scrolling image. And as I mentioned, you can only access Screen Draw from a video. So when I click record a video, it's going to open up, and I apologize, it went over on my other monitor, this Screen Draw toolbar over here on the left. So I can click on this and open it up, and I see that you have the ability to draw arrows, and I'm going to just draw an arrow on my screen. You have a square tool so that you can actually draw rectangles or squares around on the video recording window. And one of my favorites is this step tool. So if you have a series of steps that you want them to navigate on while recording, you can click up here and click the 1, you can click 2, and it kind of just continues. And you'll notice that after around 3 to 5 seconds, the numbers start fading out. So you don't have to go back and erase anything. It will automatically disappear after a 3 to 5 second time period. Okay. You also notice I have my webcam turned on over here. This is an optional feature that you can do. And if I expand right beside the webcam, this little menu arrow, there are some shapes that you can choose from. And now this has been on the Mac side for quite a while, and it's been on the Windows side, I would say, for a few months. And so I could change this to a rectangle if I wanted to. I could do a square, and you get the idea of a lot of different options. You can also notice that I cannot scroll up and down my window here while I'm in Screen Draw mode. And if I come down here, I can exit Draw or Screen Draw by clicking that button. And now I'd be able to manipulate the window, click on links, and so forth. So that's just a couple things to keep in mind while using Screen Draw, is that when it is enabled and turned on, then you are basically the drawing features are taking over, and for drawing on the screen, to actually click on links, if there are links or scrolling the web page, you're going to have to disable it. And you'll notice when I hover over these buttons for exit Screen Draw, you'll see some hotkeys down beside it. And for example, Control-Shift-D are the hotkeys. If I just press Control-Shift-D, it will disable it. And so if I'm over here and I press Control-Shift-D, it turns on my Screen Draw, and the same ones turn it off. Same thing for some hotkeys with, like, the step tool is the number 1, the square tool is the letter S, and the arrow tool is A. So again, if you're over on the window and you press the letter A, it automatically takes you to the arrow. If I do an S, it gives me the square or rectangle. And if I press the number 1, it moves me over to the step tool. Okay. So before I go any further, let me actually show you something. And I forgot to show before. Over here you notice I was drawing out colors, the red colors. Let me actually select this one more time. My apologies. Sorry. I wanted to talk about the colors, and I forgot to show you. As when you turn on Screen Draw, the colors up here, when you click on it, you're going to see 4 different colors. These colors are pulled from your editor in whatever theme you have selected. So I currently have the basic theme selected in the Snagit editor, and that's why I'm seeing these 4 colors that I can choose from with my numbers, or maybe I want to do purple. I'd have to manually select those colors. If I want to change these colors to something else, let me actually exit out of this, jump over into the Snagit editor, and I'm going to show you up here, when you have a tool in the toolbar selected, like the arrow or text or call out, you're going to see a theme option over here underneath Quick Styles. And again, I currently have the basic theme selected. That's why that one is showing up on the Screen Draw. But if I chose something else, like I created this new theme with some of the brightest and wildest colors I could find. I've got some purple, yellow, black, and orange. So if I have this theme selected here in the editor, when I go back and start a capture, let me click the record button again. And I apologize that my toolbar keeps popping up on the other screen. And when I do a recording with video, the toolbar, you'll see now has these colors chosen here. So if you want to change the colors, you have to do that again from the theme over in the Snagit editor. So let me just do a quick recording. I'm going to try my best to jump back and forth from Screen Draw and the website. I'm still learning, kind of fumbling through some of this, but let me go ahead and hit record. And I can also show you how you can move the webcam around. You can resize it if you want and stuff like that while recording as well. So let me just do some practicing here, hit record, and I'll show you where to find some tutorials. Hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and I wanted to show you today how to find some tutorials on our TechSmith website. So with that, up at the top of this screen, we are on techsmith.com. If you hover over the support tab, you can click on tutorials. So here you're going to see all of our different products. And since we're talking about Snagit today, let's go ahead and click on Snagit. Now, where I suggest that you start is right here where it says Get to Know Snagit. If you click on that, it's going to take you to a great tutorial and walk you through the basics around what you can expect to do with Snagit. You can also, as I scroll down here, you're going to see some different areas. And some of them that I recommend is to definitely start here where it says Getting Started with Snagit. And you can see this what's new in Snagit 2023. That's going to show you some of the new features that we are working with. And for example, if you wanted to try to find the screen draw tutorial, the quickest way might be to just type it here in the search box. So I'm just going to type in screen draw and hit enter. And you're going to see right here, you're going to see the screen draw tutorial. So if I click on it, it's going to take me right to that tutorial where I can scroll down, watch a video, and see some written content that goes along with it. So check out our tutorials. If you have questions, please let me know. So I'll go ahead and hit the stop button, and it's going to bring that recording here into the Snagit editor. And you're going to see the play bar here. I did not turn off the webcam during recording or move it, but you can see it's down here in the corner the whole time. I'm just going to drag this around, and it's going to show all my clicking. And then I turned on screen draw, and it's grabbing or showing the arrow. And you're going to see the rectangle here and so forth. So it does take a little practice to get it down to whether you're using hotkeys or things like that. But it's super cool. It helps you kind of clarify and kind of really draw attention to what it is that you're recording. And this can all be done while you are recording with Snagit with the screen draw feature. Now, while it's in here, I could remove some things. Like if I made a mistake, this is all the same as what it used to be. If I wanted to make a selection and cut that part out, I could do that. But when I'm ready to share this, up in the top corner, this used to be just a share button. It now says share link. Beside the share link button is a drop-down menu where you're going to see all those familiar destinations of where you can share your captures, whether it's a video or an image. And since this is a video, some of them are grayed out, like I can't send a video straight into Microsoft Word or straight into PowerPoint. It's only going to highlight the ones that I can actually send to. But I'm going to demonstrate the share link button. And what this does is when I click it, it's automatically, since I am signed in up here, it's automatically going to start uploading that to Screencast. And Screencast is a TechSmith tool. You might have used it before, but we have kind of redone it a little bit, have done some home improvement with it. And you can see it once it's done, it lets you know that it's been sent, and it puts the link right on my clipboard. I can click view if I want, but I'm actually going to navigate over to a website, and let me make this full screen. And I'm going to paste in that URL. This is the URL that was on my clipboard. And this is going to take you straight to Screencast. And some of the cool things about Screencast is obviously the video is right here where I can play it back. Hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and I wanted to show you today, and hopefully you can hear that coming through the speakers, but my audio is there, and this is the video and you're gonna see the screen draw on it. There are some things I can do as far as like it brings in the title and date. If I click on edit details, I can give it a something like TechSmith tutorials. I can put a description here if I want and save it, and it's going to give it that custom name. You can do other things like setting the privacy, accessibility, where you can add captions to it. And one of my favorites is this conversation piece. So over on the right-hand side is a conversation dialogue area. So this is where you can have a conversation around this video. So if I wanted to send this video off to some coworkers, or maybe it's some students or somebody I'm working with, a client or something like that, I can create a video, add some screen draw if it's will help, and then I can come in here and I can either add a prompt for a comment like, hey, can you give me some feedback? Or I can send it like as it is and let them add some comments. So we use here at TechSmith a tool called Slack. And I'm going to drag this over here. And this is just a communication tool similar to like Microsoft Teams or Skype or whatever tool you might use. but this is how we communicate with each other. And so I already have a conversation here, kind of a group conversation with Carson and Jason. And I put, hey, Carson, Jason, can you please take a look at this and share any comments? So I'm going to, since it's still on my clipboard, I'm going to do a Control V and paste in the URL. And when I click send, it's going to notify them that I sent them this with the link to the video. Now they can watch that video right here inside of Slack, and it's going to load up here. Hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and I wanted to, and I'll pause it again. I could watch it full screen if I wanted to. I could adjust the playback speed if I wanted to watch it a little faster, and things like that. But if they also want to, they can click on this link, and it's going to take them to that page that I showed you earlier, where they can put in comments, and they can add a comment. They can annotate on top of on the video, and we have basically can communicate with each other through this video. So this is super helpful for being able to even replace meetings, or, you know, instead of scheduling that Zoom meeting with somebody, you can send them a video and you guys can have a talk or communicate through this. And it may even replace the meeting. So anyway, so back to Snagit. Let me minimize this. In the Snagit editor, this again was just that share link option, would send it right up to Screencast, and you can have access, sharing it with anybody else. And that conversation feature is really what I love about that, about the platform, being able to communicate. And I honestly, I just sent a video last night to about 5 people on my team, and there's already been conversations going on about that video, with adding some comments in for it. So it's pretty cool. So Jason, I'm going to pause for a second. Any questions that have come in about Screen Draw as well as the share link that you've seen?
So a lot have come in. Our team is all over the questions. So I'm going to cherry pick a few of them. So someone's like, wow, that's really neat on the Screencast. Is that a separate thing I have to pay for, or is that part of Snagit now? What is their experience as an end user for using Screencast?
Great question. So Screencast now, there is obviously a free version. And if you go to techsmith.com/screencast, this is actually found from techsmith.com. If you go to the products page and click on Screencast, it'll take you to this page. And if you scroll down, it kind of lays everything out. Obviously, start with the free account. You can share unlimited screenshots, which is pretty cool, and up to 25 videos. And there's no bandwidth or length of video specifications. 25 videos, so you can get started. And then if you find after time, you're like, you know what, I really like this, and I want to use it with more, you can upgrade to yearly or monthly subscription. And there you can see 250 videos comes with Pro and things like that. So a question that comes in a lot is, if I share this video with somebody, do they have to have a Screencast account in order to participate over here? And you can see I just jumped over here to that video. Let me refresh it again. And you can see Jason and Carson have already been posting some comments in here. Now, people that you share this with do not have to have this a Screencast account in order to participate. And I'll show you that. Sorry, Jason, I kind of hijacked this.
You're good. You're good.
So I'm going to copy this URL, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to jump over here to an incognito window. So this is just a private window, paste it in where I'm not logged in. So you'll see up here at the top, I'm not signed in to Screencast. So I'm basically viewing this as a guest. And I can, if I want to add a comment, as soon as I click here, it's going to say enter a display name or sign in if I do have an account. So I can just put Ryan here and say submit. And now I'm commenting as Ryan. So I can put at any spot in this video, or here, maybe I can say I'm going to reply to Carson. I'm just going to say thanks a lot. if I can spell, and submit. So
Ryan,
now
not being
I
able
can
to spell is my job.
So there you go. So you can basically, you can share these with anybody. They can just give themselves a display name so that they don't have to have a Screencast account to participate.
So on the heels of that, Ryan, Karen asked, is there any way to turn off commenting or conversations if you're the owner of that content?
Oh, excellent question. And yes, I believe so. So here down at the bottom, if I have this video, if I'm the owner of the video, I'm going to see these tabs at the bottom and these options. For conversation, I can come down here and slide this off. And it says all comments and conversation itself will be deleted. If you want a local backup, download the data before resetting. So I'm not going to actually do it for this one, but this is where you would do that. Before you share it out, toggle this off, and then they would not see the conversation over here on the right. Great question.
Quick questions around the video, two that are pretty easy. Can you pull up the capture window real quick? First question is, when a video is rendered and it's ready to be shared, what file format is that in?
So an MP4. So when you record a video here in Snagit, when I share that out, it's going to be an MP4. I can also, from this drop down, if I come down here and say file, or I want to save it as a file, it's going to come in here and it's going to show you right here what the file format is, and it's only an MP4 video.
There you go. Is there some way when you're recording to, we have some Camtasia users in the crowd that are familiar with removing their cursor from the recording after the fact. Is there some way to toggle off the cursor for your screen recordings in Snagit and just rely on the screen draw tool?
Excellent question.
And
this is actually Nick Rich from the Snagit team. He actually gave this tip so that when you are doing your recording, let me minimize this and kind of show you a quick recording. Let me open up a browser, and just for fun, I'm going to use this website. But before I would start recording, right here on the all-in-one, it says capture cursor. I'm going to toggle that off. And now when I start a recording, and let me just do a real short window here and start recording with video. Now, when I hit record, you're going to see the cursor on the screen. So I'll turn on screen draw, and let me choose a different color. Let's go with orange. And now up here, when I'm moving this around, you're seeing the cursor, or at least I'm seeing it on the screen. But when I'm drawing this in the recording, it's not recording that particular, so it's only showing the drawings. So let me stop that recording and bring it into Snagit. And I'll just kind of fast forward this, and you're going to see the cursor's gone. You're not seeing it move around the screen, and you're going to see it just kind of draw out on there. So it's a kind of a cool way to hide the cursor, and you're relying basically on the drawing tools. It gives it a much cleaner look. So it's really a personal preference. But again, that is done back here in the Snagit capture window. Before you would say capture cursor, and it's on by default. You would want to just toggle that off.
There you go. One more question. Nope, actually, it's already been answered. So I say we move on to the next part, and we'll keep collecting questions throughout today's session, Ryan.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Okay, so while we're here in the editor, and we've talked a little bit about the power of the share link, where it sends you right to Screencast. Over here, obviously, we have our options. If you use something like, maybe you go to Dropbox, or maybe you send things to Google Drive or YouTube, you name it, whatever the destination is, you can kind of create a share link directly to your favorite outputs. And I'm going to show that through the toolbar up here and how you can customize it. Now, right now, since we have a video displayed, all I'm seeing up here is the undo and the redo. And that would be if I were to make a selection and cut, I can now undo that if I wanted to and bring it back. So If I come down here and I click on an image, I now see a lot more options up here in my toolbar. So it just depends on if you have a video or an image selected. I'm going to customize this. So I'm going to have an image selected, and I'm going to click on this more drop down. And if I choose something else here, like the blur tool, it's now going to be that first tool over here beside of the more drop down menu. And if I choose something else like the step tool, it replaces blur and puts now the step tool. At the very bottom of the more drop down is a customized toolbar. If you select that, you're going to see lots of options here. This is the, let me turn on my highlighter here. So you're going to see drawing tools, all the different drawing tools that you can customize up here on the toolbar. And if I scroll down, let's see here. We got some menu items as well as share destinations. So this is where I was talking about kind of creating your own share link. For example, if you use Dropbox, I'm going to drag Dropbox up here and put it on my toolbar. Maybe I use Camtasia a lot to send videos and images over for other videos that I want to edit a little bit more. You know what, maybe YouTube's another one, so I can add those up there. But this is what I love about the Snagit toolbar, is you can make it whatever you use the most. There's another one I use a lot, is this new from clipboard. If we have time, I'll show that one a little bit later, but I like putting that one over there. I also use the step tool a lot. So let me actually drag the step tool up. And maybe there are some tools that you don't use very much. Maybe you don't use the fill paint bucket. You can just drag them off, and they don't delete them. They just basically remove them from the toolbar. And so when you click done, my toolbar is now customized. And here's kind of a cool thing that I can do. Let's use Dropbox as an example. Right now, if I click on send this image right here to Dropbox and I click this, it's going to prompt me and say, what file name do you want to give it? And what folder do you want to send this to? And this box that's checked says, always ask me for file name and folder location. If I want to turn this into like a true one-click share destination, I'm going to hit cancel here. Well, first I want to make sure I have the right folder that it's going to selected, which it does. I'm going to cancel that, and it tells me it canceled it over here. So when I drop down this menu for Dropbox here, there's another little drop down menu, and I can go to the options, and I'm going to uncheck this box where it says always ask me for the file name. And when I click OK, now this button up here is a true one-click share destination. So whatever it is I want to share, if I'm ready to share it, I just click on Dropbox. It's going to start uploading it. And once it's there, it's going to copy the link and let me know that it's successfully uploaded. And if I go to a browser window, just to kind of show you what it looks like, paste in the URL, and it's going to take you right to that image where they can see it. And maybe I mocked it up and I put some arrows or whatever on it. So this is one way that how you can turn your options up here as your just one-click destinations. So just to kind of help you with that. Any other questions, Jason, while I'm pausing here awkwardly?
No, you're fine. The questions we've got coming in are actually a lot around video creation, and I know you're going to be talking about that with the video from images. So I can either ask them now or we can hold them off. It's up to you.
How about I go ahead and demo video from images, and then you can ask questions right after that.
Perfect. Sounds great.
All right. So here's a couple things. I have some images that I grabbed from the kind of the intro slides down here on my timeline, or I say timeline. This is the capture tray. It looks kind of like a timeline. And these images, if I wanted to turn this into a video, then I'm going to show you how you can do that inside of the Snagit editor. So I'm not necessarily going to be using the Snagit capture window for this. I'm going to do everything right here inside of the Snagit editor. And first things I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my shift key, and selected the first one and the last one. So I have these 5 images selected. And I'll show you what that means by when I come up here to this create drop-down menu. One of the options is video from images. And when I select that, it's now going to basically initialize, turn on my video capture toolbar, and it's only going to show those 5 images that I had selected from the capture tray. So I can even, it even says drag to change the order. So if I had these in the wrong order, I could move them around and position them if I wanted to. I have my webcam, which looks a little weird being the webcam with me up there. So I'm going to actually toggle off the webcam and not do webcam for this one. This button right here that says video background color. So that's this color right over here around the outside edge. If I wanted to change that, I could. So let's say I wanted to make it an orange color, or I could click on this and use the eyedropper and choose this Snagit blue color. So there's lots of different options I could do, but that kind of gives me a background color if it doesn't fill up the whole window. Now, cool thing here also is that while I'm recording, you'll notice up at the top on the toolbar, all I'm seeing is favorites. And these are all the tools that I have favorited from the different other tools. Like these are callouts and shapes and arrows, the step tool. I can use these and draw on the screen here while I'm recording it. So it's kind of like a built-in screen draw utilizing your favorite quick style features. So I'm just going to click record. It's going to give me a 3-second countdown, and I'll just kind of go through this. So, hey, everybody, welcome to our What's New in Snagit 2023 webinar. I'm Ryan. I'm here with Jason. And Jason, I'm actually going to send this video to you to give you ask for some feedback on here. So what do you think about me maybe taking a new picture where I have a beard, maybe? We'll see.
Sorry.
But then, and then I can go on to the next slide. And what's a little bit different here is as I draw on the screen with these tools, these will not disappear. So if I do, first we're going to talk about screen draw, then share link, screencast, and so forth. These are all being added to that image down here, and they do not disappear. If I go on, I can go on to the next slide and talk through it. And I have, again, all of my drawing tools that I have access to that I can be adding. If I wanted to turn my webcam on, let's say I'm getting near the end, and maybe on this slide, I'll toggle my webcam on and say, all right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. So I'll hit stop. It's now the video comes into the Snagit editor, just like if I was doing it with the capture window. I'll kind of fast forward this just to kind of show you that the drawing tools are working. And as I'm drawing them on the screen, and the webcam came on near the end. Okay. Now, now I can share this just like every other one. So if I could send this to another location, I could save it as an MP4 and put it anywhere I want. Or I can just click share link. And it's going to send it off to Screencast, where I have, and once it's done, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks. Let me paste it in here. Here's the video. And again, if I didn't want the conversation with it, I could come down here and toggle it off. And if I say delete, now there's not going to be a conversation when I share this. To kind of show that, let me actually click on share and copy that link. And let me jump over to an incognito window and take a look. And there's no conversation now. So it's just the video. So there you go. And I could share this again with Jason or whomever. And if I wanted to have a conversation, I could toggle this back on. And it's now ready to go when I share that link with them. All right.
It's nice to be able to have that much control over how you want to share that content, right? And it doesn't have to be a one size fits all. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah, and also I could share this multiple places. If I put this on Screencast, but I also want to send it to YouTube and even on Dropbox or save it as an MP4, I can do multiple things with it. I'm not limited to just whatever I share it to the first time. That's what I'm stuck with.
Hey, Ryan, before you get too far away from this, we got a question that just came in that's relevant from Robert. He's really wondering, is there a way with those slides that you have in your recents tray, can you make copies of those and duplicate them so that you can maybe have different experiences on different ones?
Oh my goodness, Robert, that's an awesome question and great tip. This was one that I was going to share and I forgot. So thank you. So here is, let me use this one right here. So maybe you want to, I took this screenshot and maybe you want to add some annotations to it, but you don't really, you want to keep it as the original one there too. So down here on the capture tray, if I right click on it, one of the options is duplicate. And if I click on that, it's going to add a copy of it clear over here at the beginning. And let me actually drag that first one over here so that they're side by side. So now there's a duplicate. So on this one, I could maybe go grab a highlighting tool and I can drag over this, or maybe I want to do a step tool and say, first click on the create button and then click on video from images. And I have this one that I can share out, but I still have my duplicate down here that is, that's not edited at all. So I do that a lot. And that's a great tip that if you, for example, if I come back to this one during that recording, I was adding these annotations to it, and now it's part of that image. So I would have to, if I wanted to get rid of those, I would have to come back in here and I clicked the move button up here or tool, and I select it and I just hit delete. So I can basically, I would have to go through and clean up that image that way if I wanted to. But if I would have duplicated it before I made my video, then my originals would be okay. All right, great question.
Yeah, and he says that's exactly what he was thinking, so he thanks you.
You're welcome. I have something while you're thinking of another question. This is another tip I wanted to share. This is actually a screenshot of here, right up here within the Snagit editor. But if you guys have ever, if you're ever wanting to take image captures of the Snagit windows, you'll notice that when I click on capture right here, Snagit minimizes and it gets out of the way, and I can't actually open it up to capture anything in it. So here is a tip. Underneath the file drop-down menu on the Snagit capture window, if you go to capture preferences, underneath this capture tab, which is the middle one, the very top one says hide Snagit when capturing. If you uncheck that and click OK, now when I'm going to move this out of the way, when I click on, here's my tip. If I click this button, I can't necessarily click on anything to expand it. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to use my hotkey, which in this case is my F13 key. This always stirs up some confusion, but this is any hotkey that you set, whether it's print screen or Control Shift D or Control Shift, whatever hotkey you want to put in here. What I'm going to do is click on this drop down menu so that it's open here, and then I'm going to use my hotkey, which is in my case F13, and I now have a way that I can grab this image. And when I let go, it's going to bring that image right here. I can say captured as an image, and I now can mock up thing. Maybe I'm making some tutorials for people at work that I want that to show them inside of Snagit. So now you can do that by toggling it off. And also, if you capture your mouse cursor in an image by accident, it's actually layered on top of it. So I can actually select it and delete it if I didn't want that cursor in there. So that's just, again, come back here to the Snagit capture window. Another thing to do is I always forget that I have it toggled that way. So want to come back to File, Capture Preferences, and Capture Menu, and toggle that back on so that Snagit does hide when I, now if I hit my hotkeys. Snagit disappears and I'm able to capture whatever it is on my screen that way. So one little tip there. Jason, any other questions? We've still got 15 minutes.
Yeah, we got lots of questions, but I know you also had a couple polls. I didn't know if you wanted to utilize those, Ryan.
Sure, let's try it out.
All right.
Let's see here.
The two polls we have is the status with Snagit. I'd be kind of curious based on some questions if we want to run that one, which is what is your status with Snagit? We're kind of curious, what version you currently have. Do you have the newest version? Are you using 2022, 2021 or earlier? You don't know what version you have, which is a completely legitimate answer. Sometimes that's why Ryan showed that at the beginning to see how you can get your update or your upgrade if you have it available to you. So we're just kind of curious to see which ones you've got. And we'll give everybody about 10 more seconds here. And then, I got plenty of questions for you, Ryan. People are pretty excited.
Awesome. All right. It's slowing down a little bit. We're over 300. So did you stop it or?
Yep, I just stopped it. So it should be up there.
Okay, cool. I'll let you control it.
Oh, sure. Yep. So it looks like the 58% of the people that answered are on the newest version, 26% on 2022, about 11% on 2021, and about 5% are not quite sure what versions they have. So could you show real quick how easy it is to see what version you have regardless of that?
You bet. So inside of the Snagit, well, I think you can do this one on both the editor or the capture window. Again, if you click on the help menu and come down to where it says about Snagit, you're going to see that right here, version, and then it's going to show you if it was 2023, and then if there's a dot release, whether there's an update or anything, and then as well as the date. So
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think we'll save the last question for a little bit. Let's get through some of these questions if we could.
You bet.
So Randall has been using Snagit for a long time, and he sees the editor and he sees the capture window, but he's really wondering, he's on a Mac, so we know it's a little bit different, but isn't there some way, Ryan, that you can turn on some sort of like always on widget so it's always available on your screen so you don't always have to launch that capture window?
Yeah. Yep. This is kind of like, I don't know if people are familiar with or have ever used Jing in the past or anything like that. This is kind of what I think of when I think about this little widget. But again, underneath the file drop down, if you go to capture preferences, this is the same place where we had this capture hide Snagit when capturing, where we did that. But back here on the general tab, right here, I just have capture window selected, which is this guy. But if I select this capture window and widget and click OK, I now have, I don't know how well this is going to be within Zoom. Okay, so let's see. It's this guy right here. I can dock it anywhere on my monitor. So now I can have this minimized. And if I'm out on a website, let's go over to this website here, and I wanted to take a screenshot of this, I can just hover over up at the top. I have my capture button, click it, and it's thinking about it. Whoa, my screen just went black.
That's exciting.
Are you seeing the black screen?
I am. Yep.
Let me close this.
Maybe stop your share for a second and we'll bring it back up and see if that does it.
Oops, there it came.
There we go.
All right. So that was not planned. That was not in our rehearsal.
There you go.
But yeah, so there, let's go back into Snagit. But that's, I mean, I guess try that out. That's how you can toggle it on. And it should be just a real quick hover over it and click the icon and capture your window that way. So it's really kind of a personal preference, but it's again underneath File, Capture Preferences, and using this guy right here.
There we go.
And just so that for the rest of this session, I'm going to go back to this one just for hopefully it won't do it anymore. All right, what's up next?
Next, Gary's asking a question, and I'm going to qualify Gary's question with the fact that how he asks it, he's not alone. He says, I confess when I'm recording a video with Snagit, I get a little confused about when to have which of those two sound buttons active. Can you give some general, simple guidance when they're recording a screen video with Snagit, what those two audio buttons refer to and when you would utilize them?
You bet. So let me come back in here. I think I might have that on. So, yep. So let me make a selection and of my screen and the two audio buttons. So I'm going to have to choose record a video. And so here are the two sound buttons I'm thinking he's talking about. So the one on the bottom, I'll start with that one. As I'm talking, you can see that that meter is kind of bouncing there. That's my microphone. And that is, if I click the drop down, this will allow me, if I have multiple microphones selected, I can make sure that I have the right one that I want to use. And I would see this meter bouncing if I have the right one selected. If I click right on top of the button, it's now going to mute it. And so now if I record my screen, there's going to be zero audio. It's only going to capture anything I'm doing on with mouse clicks, and it's what's visible. The second one, the one above it, is system audio. If you turn that one on, then if I am recording something on my screen, and maybe it's a video, I'm playing back a video and it's recording that, any audio that's coming through the speakers will be captured with this if this is turned on. Or maybe it's some sound effects or something like that. So basically, think of this top one as system audio, is any noise or sounds that come through music, that come through your speakers. And this bottom one is your microphone, whether it's you want to add voice narration to your recording while you are capturing your screen. And I think that's pretty much it on those. If that hopefully those were the two that he was talking about.
They were indeed. Excellent. Mark is asking, he was really liking when you were doing the video from images before and you were using the step tool. He's wondering if there's some way to change the size of the number as a default. He can change it when you're making the recording or, when he's setting it up, but then every time he has to make it smaller. Is there a way to maybe change the preset or the quick style of the size of the step tool?
So let me see here. So we're talking about this one right here.
Yep.
So clicking on there for that size, if I resize that, and then I click down here, it's going to copy that. So you should only have to resize it the first time. I'm not aware of being able to resize it so that the first click is a certain size. I think it comes in at default.
So what if you went into the step tool itself,
okay,
and made an adjustment and saved it as made a smaller version of, like, let's say the purple A or whatever, and then made that smaller? Can you then make that a quick style with a different size? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think so. So let me do this one. Let's make it really big.
Sure.
And at that size,
so sizing is not a perimeter. I'm seeing it's not showing up as a addable. It's not one of the tool properties that triggers a quick style addition.
Yeah. So
this is where we have people like Paul on the webinar. Paul, I know you can hear my voice, but you don't have to pay attention. We will ask you about this. So you cannot do it the way we thought you could do it, which is always interesting for us to learn that as well. But that was just a question Mark had, and we'll look into that for sure.
Yeah. So let me make it this size once. And yeah, because if I do this one, if I make that as a favorite, it's probably going to take the original properties. No, it didn't.
There you go.
So there you go. So it sounds like if you adjust the properties of it over here and then hit the star button, it'll take whatever the properties were as that favorite. So give it a try. See if it works on you guys' end.
Sure. All right. So this is a big question. This is coming from Ron, from Kim, and from Georgia. When you were walking through parts of your recording, you toggled on some sort of highlighter tool while you're recording. I think it's on your system. Can you just tell people what that is and tell them that it's not part of Snagit?
It's not part of Snagit. It's actually It's called Cursor Highlighter. And I honestly have only had it for about a week, so I can't really speak too much about it. But if you just do a Google search for, it looks something, see if it pops up like this. And this allows me to highlight settings. So I can choose a different highlight color if I wanted to make it green, and I could change the opacity and size and stuff. And then I have hotkey set up, which is Alt A. And I must not have saved the green color. That's okay. But now it's basically just highlighting during that. And if I can do Option A to turn it off. So just do a Google search for Cursor Highlighter for Windows. I know Mac has another one that I know some coworkers use. So, but that is not part of Zoom, or I think you can do it in Zoom if you're doing that. But so yeah, that's just it's a separate tool that I had downloaded.
Perfect.
Hey, I have one more tip that I'd like to share if you don't mind.
Please do. Please do.
All right. So this is something that it's not new in 23, but it is something that I use a lot ever since a coworker told me about it, which is a hotkey. And this is for like when you're watching webinars or you are capturing that same image, that same size over and over. So if someone is going through a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to use something like this as an example, and let me make it a little bit smaller. And so inside the Snagit capture window, we're going to go back into that file capture preferences. And the third tab up there is hotkeys. And this has been on the Mac side for quite a while, as far as I know. But on the Windows side, or maybe it has on the Windows as well, but it doesn't have the hotkeys automatically created. You'd have to come in here on the Windows side and set them up. So I have designated Control, Shift, and R as my repeat last capture hotkeys. And this is actually pretty magical if once I've discovered it. So let's say you are wanting to capture some images from a PowerPoint presentation, or again, you're watching a webinar and they're going through slides and you want to just keep capturing certain screens off of your window. So Control Shift R are my hotkeys. And what I'm going to do is first on this slide deck here, I'm going to take my first capture. So let's say I'm watching a webinar and this is on the screen, and I come up here and I drag down and I select this window, and I'm going to say capture it as an image. It's going to take it into the capture editor. Perfect, right there. Now I continue watching and they go to the next slide. And maybe I don't necessarily want that one, but this one I'm like, yeah, I'd like that one. If I just press Control Shift R, it automatically repeats that last capture on the size, dimensions, and everything, and brings it right into the Snagit editor. So you can now just kind of, instead of having to hit capture and then drag out and make that selection, when it gets to the next one on the next screen, Control Shift R is going to automatically take that capture and bring it in. And now what's cool is I can reorganize these on my window. And if I wanted to, I could select all three of them, come up here and do video from images. And I can now do a quick little video share out with my team, maybe some webinar slides that I found that I wanted to pass along. So pretty easy to just use that hotkey, Control Shift R, and you can set it up to whatever you want inside of that Snagit capture window, capture preferences, hotkeys, and it's this guy coming right here, repeat last capture. I love this. This helps me, saves me a lot of time when I'm wanting to capture that same screen over and over again. So hopefully that was a tip that somebody may have not been familiar with, and hopefully it will save you some time in the future with Snagit. So
people are pretty happy with that tip, Brian. They're pretty happy with it. So we're pretty much at the end. I wanted to share that last poll question, and that's just, hey, we've shared all this new amazing things that are New inside of Snagit 2023, or might be new to you. We're kind of curious. What are you most excited about? Is it the ease of sharing with the share link, screen draw, which Ryan's becoming kind of a maestro with right now, the create button, which is where you found those video from image options, customizing the toolbar, which I do immediately when I install a new version of Snagit on any of my machines, pip shapes, the picture in picture, so you're not regimented and stuck in that square or rectangle world, or video creation in Snagit in general. You can actually choose as many of these options as you'd like to find out what you're most excited about. Ryan, was while we're doing that, do you want to pull up that final slide that has some information? Just quick reminders, folks. You're going to get a recording of this within about 24 hours. We'll also send you in that email a link to a helpful handout. When you leave today's webinar, you are going to be prompted to take a 1-minute survey. And we really appreciate you taking that survey because it helps us create further webinars, whether they're getting started sessions, deeper dives into products. It helps us get better at what we do. And we are glad for you attending. So let's end the poll here. And it looks like people are really excited about screen drawing, and then they're really excited about video creation in Snagit. It's just one of those things that's been there for a while, but if you didn't know about it, or you didn't know how to use it or where you would use it, definitely an option for you. So I want to say thank you to, first and foremost, Ryan, for your presentation today. We really appreciate it. And definitely a thank you to all of the TechSmithies in the back end chat helping us out. We could not do this without you folks, so we appreciate that very, very much. Ryan, do you have anything you'd like to say as we wrap up today's session?
Just thank you. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us today. Hopefully you learned at least one thing new that you could take back and try yourself. And please send us your feedback. What would you like to see in Snagit? What kind of sessions would you like to see us offer? And as we're coming up on a new year, I know Jason is looking at offering some new webinars. So we would love to take your ideas and turn them into actual live webinars. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. We hope you have a great day wherever you are in the world. Take care.